everybody! Thanks for joining us. I'm so excited! The sample of Permian microfossils from Oklahoma, which I bought on eBay, has arrived, and we are about to take a peek inside of the vial. I'm going to browse through the pieces and pick up a few most interesting microfossils to discuss. The fossils were collected in Waurika, Oklahoma, and contain a mix of tiny, mostly fragmented fish and reptile teeth. The teeth with two massive side cusps and one tiny in the middle are clearly the most abundant in our sample. The dentitions of this type adorn the mouth of the shark species named Orthacanthus. What do we know about these sharks? During the early Permian period, roughly 280 to 270 million years ago, they were definitely the kings of fresh waters. Their bodies were elongated like those of modern-day eels, with relatively long dorsal fins on the top. Interestingly, Orthacanthus also had a long spine on the back of its head. Scientists think that Orthacanthus could reach a 3-meter length and, in addition to other prey, could have eaten the smaller fish of its own species. Impressive teeth. It's a pity that they are broken. Some people describe these teeth as tri-cuspid or double-fanged. This tooth has two tiny cusps in the middle. The distribution of the teeth among various deposits led to the conclusion that Orthacanthus shark was diadromous, meaning that it could live in both salty and fresh water like salmon, for instance. However, in the case of Orthacanthus, the spawning happened in the sea. So, these sharks resemble eels due to not only the elongated body, but also the lifestyle. And this is why Orthacanthus is often called an eel shark. Notice the tail vertebra on the left. The fossils of tetrapods of Permian period are very interesting because it was a time when they were actively adapting to life on land. Amphibians and more recent branch of evolutionary tree, the reptiles, left plenty of bones and teeth behind for us to marvel. These round-ended, bony fragments look like tooth roots or horn-like bumps on the skull, but internet search revealed that they are likely spurs that broke off of the elongated spines attached to the vertebrae of an Edaphosaurus, one of the earliest amniote tetrapods. Amnion is a protective membrane surrounding an embryo and preventing the amniotic liquid from drying out. It was a huge evolutionary development that made it possible to lay eggs on land without having to return to the water. The most prominent feature of the Edaphosaurus was a huge fin on its back. The fin was supported by elongated vertebral spines, which had short reinforcing crossbars growing in a horizontal direction. These short crossbars are the very feature that helps to distinguish these species from more famous Dimetrodon, who had fins without bars. Edaphosaurus was a plant-eating tetrapod. We also found a bunch of tips from reptile teeth, with beautifully preserved, serrated cutting edges. This tooth bears characteristics typical of so-called zyphodont teeth, namely laterally flattened and serrated. Recent studies indicate that Dimetrodon was one of the first terrestrial reptiles that developed zyphodont teeth. On the contrary, amphibians have labyrinthodont teeth, round with multiple infoldings of the enamel and the complex pattern on the cross-section resembling maze or labyrinth, usually with a canal in the middle. This type of teeth was developed by amphibians with the lifestyle of aquatic predators. It's hard to tell for sure whether these round teeth are labyrinthodont teeth without looking under the microscope, but there is a good chance that they are. This grooved tooth can possibly be attributed to an amphibian like a tri-mirror roches. The tip would have been capped with a tiny, semi-transparent point. Look, it's most likely a tiny reptile claw. It has a layered structure and the size of approximately 4 millimeters. Awesome! There are some pieces with a bunch of circles on them in a pattern similar to that of a stone pavement. Those are believed to be fragments of shark cartilage. By the way, we have other video featuring microfossils. That one is about tiny creatures that lived in what's now Texas during the Carboniferous period. Here is the lower part of a spine from a freshwater shark. Although it may not be Orthacanthus, many sharks of the Permian period had dorsal spines. There are several Orthacanthus species, by the way, distinguished by subtle differences in morphology. Teeth of Orthacanthus platypternus, for instance, have flattened roots in comparison to more buffed roots of Orthacanthus compressus. Another feature of platypternus teeth is uneven cusps. Each has a quite different length. This mini specimen resembles a fragment of a scute, armor plate on the back of a crocodile, but it is likely a fragment of a skull of an amphibian. Here is a similar creature from Texas, a Coscinodon, or Metaposaur. Do you recognize that carved pattern on the uneven surface with multiple pits on the bones? Look-alike animals from Waurika locality were Eriops, Trimerococcus, and Diplocolus. These animals had flat skulls and were likely ambush predators that hide and wait for a prey that ventures within their grasp, or rather, a bite. A bunch of bones that look like amphibian toe bones, but could be many things, because the pieces are too short for more precise identification. There are lots of fossils in this lot. Let me know if you notice that I missed an interesting piece. The size of the fossils are only a few millimeters, so I think they should be called millifossils instead of microfossils. We have checked the radioactivity, of course, because the fossilized bones tend to have higher levels. They absorb radioactive elements from the ground like a sponge. The sample is so small, so the total effect is almost negligible. Slightly higher than background values, maybe like 50% higher. But in our house, the radiation is quite low from the beginning. If you compare the radiation of this sample to the levels produced by basalt or granite, you would see that the fossils are much less hot. Please share this video with your fossil-loving friends and see you next time on our channel.